Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Preston. This is going to be a solo episode, and welcome to a typical podcast. Recently, some friends and I were talking, and I forgot how we got to this in the conversation, or what prompted him to ask this. I don't even remember what the question was. I think the question was something about if you could decide, or it was something like you already chose things in your life, or something like that. Wait, what was the question? What was that? Hold on. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't think this is exactly the question, but it was something like, do you think when we're born, like we've already, like our choices are already made from that moment, or something like that? It was something like that, which prompted me with the idea of like, what if what if while you were in the womb, you were like doing, like, it was like a character customization type thing. So like you're already deciding like what what things happen in your life, or like certain qualities about yourself. So it it prompts you with the, like, for example, if someone, maybe someone chose they're going to live their life with a stutter or a lisp. That was their life choice when they were in the womb. They were like, I want that. So then they pick that, and that's their life. That's what they have. Sometimes you look at someone's like kid and you're like, you don't look like your parents at all. And maybe they just hit randomized character. So and when you're born, you don't remember the choices you've made. But like, what if what if what if you already decided things that were gonna happen, or like certain like qualities about yourself? like it was a ridiculous idea, but a funny idea in and of itself. I've started vlogging again, and the reason there's a couple reasons why I started vlogging again. One, I miss doing it. Two, I miss doing it, and three, I miss doing it. That's really the main reason. But I also I felt like I wasn't making enough type of content, or like just more videos in general. Cause I stopped I couldn't make the vlogs, and I already kind of said this in one of the vlogs recently, but I couldn't make them without, like, I wanted to always have people involved, and I still do. I like when I have people in videos. It's more fun, and I think it's more enjoyable when I'm actually editing it, because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that person said that. That's not going in the video. That wasn't good enough, but like, it's cool that I get to see that moment again. That's like the main thing, was I couldn't get people involved all the time, and eventually I was just like, all right, well, I can't let that stop me. So I set out, and I'm officially vlogging again. I'm like doing it. I told myself that I'm going to make one every single week. And so far I'm doing that. And I think by me putting this into like the podcast and just talking about it, that'll like reinforce myself into like keeping up to do that. Cause it's pretty easy to just like get lazy, or get the idea of, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay if you miss a week. It's fine. Just make the next one better. But that's not, I don't like missing stuff. Like, even last year when I missed like a couple episodes of the podcast for like various different reasons, or whatever the reason was, like, if I didn't post the podcast, I felt like I didn't do anything. I felt like I wasn't accomplishing anything that week. And I hated that feeling. It was almost as if like I felt like a failure, but it wasn't. I don't know how to explain. It just was not a good feeling for me. So that's why I just hate not doing stuff like that. Like, if I'm putting out stuff, I hate not putting out stuff. So, that's kind of why I did TikTok, or started doing TikTok. I started doing TikTok because for one, I just thought it would be fun, and that's kind of like my main place right now is TikTok. And you know what? This is what I'll say. Most people look at TikTok and they're like, "Oh, it's TikTok. It's whatever." But honestly, I think it is like it's evolving. It's going through the stages that I feel like most things go through. Like okay, the easiest comparison is YouTube. You know, YouTube went through its like early stages of, oh, like if you like it was normal if you watched YouTube videos, but if you were like actually making YouTube videos, it was kind of like it was a weird like, oh, you make YouTube videos, okay. But like now it's like becoming more, oh, you make YouTube videos? That's really cool. That's like, what do you do? Oh my god, what do you do? What kind of YouTuber are you? Oh, have you met blah 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 blah? How much money do you know? It's like it's more mainstream, and you know, like those two are like the easiest to compare to each other, like TikTok and YouTube, because they're seemingly the exact same thing, just a little different. You know, like they each are videos. One's like specifically for shorter videos, but like they're kind of TikTok's kind of growing up and going through the same phases that YouTube has. And you know what? Other things have gone through like these similar phases as well. Like if you think about it, at least I mean I wasn't born around this time, but I feel like the 1980s or 1970s, or you know, like before me, a lot of like nerdy or like geek stuff is like, it was seen as weird, or like, oh, you're one of those people that you like comic books. Or it you know, it wasn't respected, or like, yeah, that's what it just wasn't respected. It wasn't mainstream. And then nowadays, like there's like comic book movies, there's all this nerdy stuff, and everyone has their own thing that they love, right? But at one point it was seen as super weird, or oh, why do you like that stuff? Or why would you want to make that type of thing? Why would you want to make a comic book? That's for weird people. That's for nerdy people. Is that crazy, or is that like does that kind of make sense? I hope it does. Like everything goes through that phase. Everything goes through that sort of phase of where it's not mainstream, of, oh, that's kind of weird. And then once it becomes like more popular and whatever, like it goes through an awkward like, oh, people do this or people use this, and then it's still seen as weird or not cool. And then you give it more time, and then suddenly everyone like accepts it, or they like understand it. Maybe they don't partake in it, but they understand it. So then suddenly it's not so weird or uncool anymore. You know what's strange? I'm somehow like nervous. And like I've made like, you know, I make videos all the time, and I film things by myself. But when it comes to like actually doing the podcast, like this is like the only time I'm ever actually nervous is only on the podcast if I'm making an episode by myself. And I don't know if it's obvious or not, but maybe it's not obvious. Maybe I'm doing a pretty swell job at containing it and like looking like a really cool guy. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know what it is. Like, I have no problem talking in front of people, and I like when people are here and like talking back and forth, but maybe that eases the nervousness. But when it's just me having to talk to like cameras, or I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to cameras and you guys are listening or whatever, but still, it's like I don't know what makes it different to make me nervous. Because essentially on your end, essentially everything's the same. It's just you're watching me, I'm talking, you're listening. Maybe you're talking to yourself as a crazy person and talking back and forth like we're having a conversation. But that's fine. But but on my end, it feels like the energy in the room just feels different. And that might be because it is just me here. But normally, like when I make TikToks, I film I'm by myself. And recently for like my vlogs, I'm by myself. But I don't feel like the same pressure. And I don't know what it is. And maybe I'm just like venting or just talking nonsense right now. And it might seem not important, but I just wanted to express that. I don't know why, but that's how I'm feeling when I do a solo episode for the podcast. I'm not skipping a week. I had people coming over, and they couldn't come over anymore, and I was not gonna let myself use that as a reason to not post an episode. And you know that's the good attitude that you should have if you're about making things, because you can't let other people like prevent you from being creative, or coming up with ideas, or like recording things, or making whatever thing you make. Don't let someone else's. I'm not dogging on the people that couldn't come today, by the way. They have legit reasons. So I'm not like, oh, they couldn't come, so now I'm here doing a solo episode all because they're filthy people couldn't show. No, that's not what I'm doing. They but what I'm trying to say is, if you're wanting to make videos, or just wanting to like make stuff, you could still do that stuff. Like, don't get in the mindset of you need these people, or you need to do something this certain way to get your shit done. Okay? Okay. Now that some words of wisdom were just passed on, maybe you guys could pass on some words of wisdom to me. I'm listening. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good words of wisdom, guys. Thank you. I will take that true to my heart, and I will carry that on for the rest of my life. Thank you. You've changed me for the better. Or the worse. I don't know. We'll find out as time goes on. I've thought about doing voice acting. That's kind of, I don't know why. I've just thought about, I was playing some video games recently, and they were pretty good story, like, based video games, and I was like, man, these characters, just the voice act, I'm interested with the idea of voice acting. That seems like a fun thing to do. Like, just doing voices and like becoming characters, and that just seems like fun. That just seems like pure fun. And I'm thinking about it, but I'm thinking about it because it's just so interesting. Like, it is such an interesting form of acting, because you're literally, it's in the name. It's literally your voice. And oh yeah, and I don't know if I'm the only one. But if I play a game, or watch like an animated show, or something like that, and I hear that person's voice, I don't know what they look like, but the second I like Google them, or like actually see what what the actual voice actor looks like, something feels weird in my brain. Like, something gets like changed, or like I don't think of their performance less if I actually see what or know what they look like. But for some reason, if I don't know what their appearance is, and then I Google it after I've watched something, it like, I don't know how it shifts, because you create your own version of what you think they might appear, and then that appearance that you create for them kind of gets broken and gets shifted into what they actually look like. And that's just weird. I feel like I'm not the only one. I think other people experience that as well, because it's different. Like, it's different if I already know what an actor looks like, and then they're casted into a movie or something, and then they're voice acting, because you already know what they, who they are and how they look, and then you hear the voice of like the animated character, and you're already thinking of, oh, I know how that person looks, but is that backwards? No, hold on. I'm trying to say that if you know what they look like and then they do voice acting, something feels normal. But if they do voice acting first and then you try to see what they look like, something feels weird. Like, I'm not crazy for saying that, right? I think other people experience that. I don't know. It feels like a rule is being broken, or it just feels wrong to find out what they look like. I don't know. Maybe it's because you view them as they're in this fictional world, and then you don't imagine that voice. I mean, the voice is coming from real life, but then I imagine that voice, I don't know, it crosses in, it hurts. It hurts my brain. It feels weird, is what I'm trying to say. let me apologize because I already know this episode's going to be a little shorter than what they usually are. And that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching or listening. This was a typical podcast. I am Preston, and see you guys next week, hopefully. Goodbye.